I would like to invite Razan. So we were very fortunate to have two colleagues today from Jordan, and Razan has been our active listener today, and she's going to provide just, her key takeaway from being part of this session and this dialogue, just to give us a wrap up. And then what we thought we would do is we would just be nice to hear from everyone. So after Razan, we'd like to hear a small reflection from all of you on maybe your biggest takeaway or one piece of action you'll be doing next as a result of taking part today. But Razan, over to you, and I would just pop your bio in the chat for people to have a bit more information about your background also.
Thank you, Jessica. It was such a fruitful event. We've learned so much so far, and I think the key lessons I've taken up from our chat show and the questions that came up, that engagement for youth should be creative. We should have a clear plan, set expectations, objectives, but also be flexible. The use of multiple methods, to know what, if, and when, and to what extent youth are engaged. Also the importance of support on multiple levels, we talked about on a policy level, or when we talked about technical support, also the funding, inclusion of youth, and collaboration when engaging them. Building rapport, I think, is an important key lesson. Since also youth have a driven goal setting, so it is important to keep encouraging them to raise their voices.
Thanks so much, Razan. That was a perfect summary of everything we've heard. And so, really great job today. So let's hear from everyone. So we've got two options. You can nominate yourself and unmute, or we can popcorn, or I can start calling on people. But Warood, you look ready to start us off. So I'm going to go to you first, and then perhaps you nominate the next speaker. So just a brief reflection from today.
Yes, thank you, Jessica. Listening and hearing for all the different experiences reminded me that still the values are the same, and our expectations are the same at the same time. So when we need to use, and when we need to work with the youth, it's regardless what the topic is, the engagement is the key. And looking at the other models, it reminded me that including everyone and leaving no one behind, regardless, is supposed to be a mission for every one of us. So I want to thank all the speakers and all the audience for being here, and for the positive energy, and for listening and so on. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Warood. I think we'll go around the screen. So Norshan, you're next on my screen. Your brief takeaway.
I think it was a nice conversation, and in the group that we just left, we've heard about TikTok, and I didn't think to use TikTok for dialogues, but why not? Because I use TikTok, but I would say I'm not using it for development as such. It's more personal that I'm using it. I have started, but I saw that for development, it's getting less reach than for personal use. But I'm still testing it, but it's good to hear it and see that people are starting to see the potential of it in development. Yeah, that's what I learned. And I heard also about Discord, and yeah, it was nice to hear about other experiences, learning about processes, and also new tools, which I'm quite passionate about, discovering, testing tools. So it was a nice one. And I hope we will continue the conversation after this event. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thank you. So we'll move to Jessica. Jessica, would you like to unmute and share a reflection from today?
Yeah. So I've been more active in more of a closed bubble, and it was of environmental activism. in that youth space. And it was really nice to hear from other sectors, especially considering that like the environmental crisis is also a social crisis, and everything is interlinked. So yeah, I really enjoyed the sharing. My group was the same as Nosheen's. So yeah, we had lots of cool discussions about what it means to be a good facilitator or moderator, and to speak less and listen more, and look out for your own biases. And I thought that discussion was really valuable in my position. Yeah.
Thanks. Wonderful. Thanks for sharing. We'll move to Krishan. So I don't think youth, but we would like to hear your perspective on today and what you're going to take away.
All right. Sorry for having joined halfway through, and I really was able to interact more in the breakout session just now. But I was in Razan's group, and I was quite interested to hear that she had a mixture of community of practice, which are both online and in person. And I'll just share that I had a 14 months experience of working with a group, initiating activities and developing a whole vision, and doing everything by meeting only through online meetings. And it just happens that I, having done this before in person, to realize that you can also achieve a similar level of interaction through online tools, I think is interesting. And the question remains now whether this will still continue as we open up again, or will people fall back to their old habits? But I think there's potential to capitalize on both, the benefits of online, which I said was able to reach a wider audience, but you still have the discussions face-to-face to get to an outcome, but you bring it back again to the online version. So yeah, that's my takeaway for today. Thanks.
Thanks very much for sharing that. Yeah, we need to see these hybrid methods coming out and emerging. Jacob, can we move to you? Would you like to share a reflection from today?
I'm guessing you mean me, right? Yep. All right. Yeah, I think one of the really good things I got out of this was actually a point that Jessica made about people stepping out of the comfort zone of what is already an established way of communicating, to better cater or make available spaces for youth to express themselves, use the tools that we have in a less conventional way or more innovative way to try and get heard. So really, go from your well-known context and then let it be driven by the younger segment. I really like that idea.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing. We'll move on to Erica.
Thank you, Jessica. Yeah, I really enjoyed the conversation and hearing about the different experiences. I think that one takeaway would be to just be flexible and open, and also think about your target. So yes, so depending on who's your target, the age, then you can think of different approaches to reach out to them and engage with them, and also follow up with them. And one thing that also I think it's key, and that it was confirmed in this dialogue, is the incentives. Before in the breakout room, Monica raised the issue of how to incentivize people to really participate. That's one important element. And yeah, I think that also depends on the people that you're engaging with. Monica, for instance, was raising the issue of people maybe wanted to have a financial compensation, or even just food. In our case, it was about recognition, also financial compensation. So that's a difficult thing to address, not always manageable, but one thing for sure to keep in mind when engaging in dialogues.
Thank you so much, Erica. Yeah, really important point. So I'll now go to our people that don't have their videos on, but hopefully are still able to share. So Calvin, would you like to share any final reflections today briefly?
Exactly. I don't know whether it's evening there. In Zambia, it's evening, so I can safely say good evening, everyone. Okay, I think I so much appreciate, especially the exercise that we're just from conducting on the Jamboard, and I think our group was dealing with issues of skills, experiences, behaviors. That's with people, the processes, and the technology, and the things that were coming out. I think are some of the missing linkages among the young people for us to see how we can really take up this challenge of being the future leaders. I think we should move in the words of Nelson Mandela, who says we should be the change that we want to see in the world. So if we want to see change in the world, it should start with us. And I think these are perfect platforms where we can discuss how the youth can be engaged, how we can be proactive, okay, how we can believe in ourselves again, how we can be hopeful for the future, using various technologies and the processes, so that at the end of the day, we are a greater global village for one common goal of bringing change for this entire world.
Great.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kelvin. So we are on time, but we do want to hear from the 5 remaining people, but we appreciate if some people do have to drop off. Thank you very much for joining, but we will just stay on a few more minutes and just hear from our 5 remaining participants in the spirit of inclusion. So Chris, are you there with us? Would you like to share a final brief reflection?
Yeah, I'm Chris from Kenya. I'm very happy to be part of this conversation today. It was my first time, and I've really enjoyed the whole conversation. My takeout in this meeting is that I'm happy because I've got some of the ways and techniques that I can engage the youth in my country so that they can work towards achieving their goals. Another thing is the future of leadership. I've got the skills of how I'll manage leadership in future, because I'm currently a student, and tomorrow when I'll be done with school, I'll think of how to deal with other people in let's say in work, or where I'll be employed, or where I'll be working, that is. So I've got some of the things that I'll really provide good leadership. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for sharing. Namakosi, I hope that's a good pronunciation. Would you like to share a final reflection?
Yes, my name is Namukosi Mariam from Uganda. I randomly found a link to this meeting on social media. I got interested and I decided to register and see what will happen here. I didn't know what to expect, but trust me, I am not disappointed with the conversation that has been shared here. And my take home for today is the aspect of ensuring that there is long-term commitment. In Uganda, you would find that there are many activities and dialogues which are organized to ensure that the youth go there and share their ideas, but they're usually spot-on activities or dialogues which happen once and you never hear from them again. And next time they choose to come, you really don't have the interest to take part in such conversations, because you'll wonder, what will I say? What is the impact of what I'm doing? I'll go there just with my time, discuss ideas, and before it, I do not get feedback. So that when the panelists discussed the aspect of long-term commitment, it is really important that when we have conversations like this, the youth are in position to follow up what has been said and see that there is feedback from what they've discussed. It is important that if I discuss something and I see it being implemented somewhere, I feel that my voice has been heard and it has caused impact. That is really important, and I'm glad I was in position to join this call. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that's one of my biggest takeaways as well, this commitment and really seeing action out of the dialogue. So we have 2 left. And Yetu Joshua, are you there? Would you like to share a final reflection before we go to Monica?
Thank you very much. I'm happy to have managed to join finally. Apologies, I've been traveling and across places which have no network, but finally joined. I I work with Farmerfield Schools as a master trainer, and in Farmerfield Schools we have integrate youth and also the age, and from it I've learned it's important to bring the two together. I've seen knowledge transfer from the elderly to the youth, but I think the take home is still on how to facilitate these processes outside the Farmerfield School activities. As my previous speaker said, the youth need to be listened to. It's very important because most of these platforms do not provide for that. Like the experienced want to overtake, and at the end, these youth don't even give their contribution. So it's really important that we create platforms where we can listen to the youth. Of course, internet and WhatsApp technology now has tried to bring that up, but it's not really regulated because most of these groups and so on, people just throw in anything. Maybe some of them are just for casual purposes. But that's still my take on, and that's a question for me to think through after this on how to bring in technology to boost up this.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And last but by no means least, Monica, would you like to share a reflection before we say goodbye to everyone?
Hello, everyone. My takeaway from the conversation is exploring different platforms to drive engagement. I think that section resonated for me because the organization I'm working with is struggling a lot with getting the community to engage with the activities within the organization without having to either be given food or they need an incentive before they can show up. So I think driving engagement is the biggest takeaway for me from this conversation.
Thanks, Monica. So yeah, thank you everyone for staying on for an extra 5 minutes. So just we could hear all of your voices, and yeah, so much rich insight has come out from today. So I'd like again to thank you very much to our speakers for contributing their time and experience, and also very much to you for participating and also contributing. Pierre, I'm going to hand it back to you for the final wrap up, as there may be some next steps you want to share.
Yeah, I'll just keep it very, very, very brief because we don't want to keep folks here much longer than what it is already. Again, just to reiterate the appreciation for you showing up and contributing in such meaningful way. I think for us as the Digros Foundation, and Christian here is also part of the Digros Foundation board, we have some clear messages here. I think Namukose mentioned it, just don't show up once and then disappear. So if you want us to engage us in a dialogue, make sure that there is long-term commitment. So I think we, as the Digros Foundation, we need to really take this on board and see what we do next. We had prepared a poll to test and see what some of the option might be. We're not running it now because we don't have many people in the room at the moment and it's late, but we'll circulate it as together with the follow-up in the follow-up email together with the recording and some links and other materials. But I think, yeah, I really appreciate all the comments that were made, and especially this. I think there is need and space to continue these conversations and to bring together like-minded people that are interested in sharing and learning from each other. So again, just to say a big thank you. And yeah, we will not show up in 1 year time. You'll soon receive the recordings, information, follow-up emails, and then ideas to continue this conversation. But also likewise, we want to hear from you. So if there is anything that you'd like to bring forward and for us to discuss and consider together, please do so. You've got the email, and we are really open to suggesting ideas to remain connected and activities that we can do together. That's all. Thanks very much, folks. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Play some music as we log off.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
You
Bye.
too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks a lot.